longer able to talk to stakeholders, Mr. President, and therefore I will move now that the referral of PS Resolution number 40 and PS Resolution number 62 be referred in the Economic Affairs Committee as a primary committee, secondary committee, Foreign Affairs and Foreign Relations, Mr. President, and the third committee would be the Ways and Means. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion of the majority leader changing the referral of the aforestated proposed Senate resolution is deemed changed accordingly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Senate President. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. President, the
What is the
minority
pledge?
leader is seeking the floor. Move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
What is the pleasure of the distinguished minority floor leader?
Mr. President, in coordination with the leadership of the majority in the Senate leadership through Senator Ang Cayetano, I move that we elect Senator Loren Legarda, Senator Risa Ontiveros, and Senator Mig Subiri as members of the Commission on Appointments.
Any objection? Hearing none, the aforestated members, namely Senators Zubiri, Legarda, and Ontiveros, are deemed elected to the Commission on Appointments.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. Mr. President, at this juncture and pursuant to Article 6, Section 17 of the 1987 Constitution, I move to elect the following as members of the Senate Electoral Tribunal. On the part of the majority, Senators Pia Cayetano, Robin Hood Padilla, Kiko Pangilinan, Camille Villar, and Senator Alan Cayetano. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the aforementioned members are deemed elected to the Senate Electoral Tribunal.
Mr. President,
Minority leaders recognized.
may I move that we elect Senator Pampilo Lacson as a member of the Senate Electoral Tribunal on the part of the minority.
Any objection? There being none, Senator Lacson is so elected to the Senate Electoral Tribunal on the part of the minority. Majority leader?
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, and again pursuant to Rule 10, Section 13 of our rules, I move to elect the following senators as members of the Committee on Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change. For vice chairpersons, Mr. President, Senator Zubiri is seeking the floor.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Zubiri?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to put on record my deep appreciation on the move of Senator Alan Cayetano, who allowed me to take the first half of the CA seat, the 0.5, Your Honor, Mr. President. I allowed me to take the first year and a half. I'd like to thank his magnanimity and his diplomatic approach to the situation, and I just want to put that on record. My deep appreciation also to the majority for allowing this to happen. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yesterday, the chair also thanked Senator Cayetano's magnanimity. Yesterday. Majority floor leader?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, again, I move that we elect the following senators as members of the Committee on Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change. For vice chairpersons, Senators De La Rosa, Erwin Tulfo, and Pia Cayetano. And for members, Senators Padilla, Mark Villar, Lito Lapid, Bongo, Amy Marcos, Win Gatchalian, and Francis Pangilinan. And for the minority, Senators Legarda, Ontiveros, and Lacson. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Aforementioned members are deemed so elected to the Committee on Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change.
Mr. President, again, pursuant to Rule 10, Section 13 of our rules, I move to elect the following senators as members of the Committee on Public Works. For Vice Chairperson, Senators Ejercito, Erwin Tulfo, and Amy Marcos. And for members, Senators Rafi Tulfo, Bato de la Rosa, Bongo, Camille Villar, and Senator Robin Hood Padilla. And for the minority, Senators Legarda and Lacson. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the aforementioned members are deemed elected accordingly to the Committee on Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. President. This juncture, I move to elect the following senators as members of the Committee on Rules. For vice chairpersons, Senators Ejercito and Marcoleta, and for members, Senators Win Gatchalian, Alan Cayetano, Mark Villar, Bato de la Rosa, and for the minority, Senator Loren Legarda. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the aforementioned members are deemed so elected accordingly to the Committee on Rules.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. At this juncture, the distinguished lady from the city of Taguig and Pateros, Senator Pia Cayetano, is seeking the floor to deliver her privileged speech. I move that she be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator Pia Cayetano, the lady from Taguig, is recognized to deliver her privileged speech. You may proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise on a matter of personal and collective privilege. For the past 2 decades, I have delivered a breastfeeding speech every August in recognition of National Breastfeeding Month. The theme for the World Health Organization's 2025 World Breastfeeding Week is Invest in Breastfeeding, Invest in the Future. Supporting breastfeeding means ensuring mothers have access to the information and help they need to breastfeed for as long as they choose. Why is this information important? I will explain later on as I go through the history of the laws that we have passed. The World Health Organization and United Nations Children's Fund recommend that children initiate breastfeeding within the first hour of birth and be exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months of life. Breastfeeding is the simplest way to give a baby its first immunity and address malnutrition, serving as nature's first immunization. As party to the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, the Philippines is committed to integrate the Sustainable Development Goals into our national development plans and policies. Breastfeeding is shown to affect several of the SDGs, namely SDG 2 on zero hunger, SDG 3 good health and well-being, SDG 4 quality education, SDG 5 gender equality, SDG 10 reduce inequalities, SDG 12 responsible consumption and production, SDG 13 climate action, SDG 17 partnership for the goals. What can we do better? According to the 2023 National Nutrition Survey, only 50.4% of babies are exclusively breastfed during the first 6 months. So why is this figure important? It means roughly 50% of the babies are not exclusively breastfed. So how are they fed? Well, for some who can afford, they would purchase formula-bought breast milk substitutes, which are clearly not as nutritious as a mother's milk. And they also have their form of danger because when a family is either in a crisis situation or lives in poverty and they do not have access to clean water, then the formula milk that they serve their baby with water that is unclean can also lead to many illnesses, including deaths for babies. So that is the problem, even if they have the ability to purchase formula milk. And for others, they make do with homemade alternatives that are not necessarily nutritious, are definitely not as nutritious. So they would make what they call which is water from bigas, from the rice. Kasi, so tinagalog ko, bigas. Yung tubig, di ba maputi yun? Pagkatapos mong hugasan yung bigas, ang tawag doon, So, yun yung pinapainom nila sa baby that has almost zero nutritional value. So, marami hong mga ganyan. Tapos yung iba, condensed milk, evaporated milk, ihahalo lang sa tubig. And this is really not what an infant needs. That's why importante itong figure na tandaan natin na only 50% of babies are exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months. So we have a long way to go, Mr. President. Now, what began as a call to recognize the nutritional and developmental value of breast milk has since evolved into a sustained legislative and public health campaign. Through laws that regulate the marketing of breast milk substitute, mandate workplace lactation support, and promote breastfeeding awareness, we have gradually built the foundation for a more breastfeeding-friendly Philippines. It is important to acknowledge the progress that we have achieved through the different legislative measures. So here's a brief history, my dear colleagues. 1986. Napanganak na kaya si Camille noon? Anyway. Tagal na to 1986. Executive Order Number 51 or the Philippine Milk Code was promulgated. Napaka-importanting batas nito, but I will just highlight a few points. It prohibits the advertising, promotion, or sponsorship of breast milk substitutes, feeding bottles, and teats intended for infants up to 24 months. When I became a senator in 2004, 21 years ago, mainit ho ang diskusyon nito because many hospitals, including our own public hospitals, were still advertising, were still promoting, were still sponsoring formula milk. Ang lakaran po doon, yung sales rep pupunta sa ospital tapos nagre-regalo na yan sa nanay ng lata ng gatas. Si nanay naman, not knowing, I don't even think I knew it also when I was a young mother. Di thank you, ninagluhan mo ako ng gatas, di ba? But sino ba naman hindi magte-thank you? But what they don't know is, pag naumpisahan mo ang baby mo ng formula milk, di syempre, less ang pagsuso niya sa'yo kasi nga, may iba kang pinapakain. And the milk supply of a mother is supply and demand. The more a baby sucks, the more there will be milk. So the more na may magregalo ng milk, di the more na hindi na makaka-produce ng gatas ang nanay. And then tuloy-tuloy na siyang wala ng supply, tuloy-tuloy na siyang magiging dependent sa formula milk. Ang tindi ng laban nito mga colleagues, no, mga kababayan na nakikinig sa atin. Ang tinding laban nito kasi talagang pinipilit ng mga milk companies na magbigay ng ganyang libreng mga gatas sa mga ospital. Sa pagkakaalam ko, we have been quite successful kasi wala na ho akong nababalitaan, wala na akong naririnig. Pero consider this a call to DOH, to the LGU executives na tingnan nyo, let's be sure na hindi na ho tumabalik, hindi na ho tayo masingitan ng ganito. The another thing that's very important, understanding this issue on sponsorship, siguro many of you will say, pero I see commercials na pinopromote yung milk formula, yung tinatawag na breast milk substitutes. Well, supposedly, hindi yan dapat na po-promote for under 6 months and below. There was a time, and I still believe in it, gusto ko nga 24 months pa onward ang pag-promote. Kasi yung 24 months, medyo toddler na yan. Ano ba difference nung baby na 6 months, 7 months, 8 months? I don't think most people can tell the difference by looking at a baby na advertisement. So when you see a baby na advertisement, hindi sila lumalabag dun sa law, pero kasi yung law natin, medyo mababa yung age na pwede nang i-promote yan. So that's still something that I wish we had the political will to do para lalong ma-promote ang pagbe-breastfeed. Kasi alam niyo na yung style ng promotion, sasabihin na pag ito yung gatas na inom ng baby mo, magiging matalino siya, magiging star pupil siya, magiging matangkad siya. Hindi po. The best way na maging lahat siya na ganon, dumede siya sa nanay niya. The next law is RA 7600 or the Rooming In and Breastfeeding Act in 1992 authored by the late Senator Ed Angara. Ito po yung law na nagre-require na pagkapanganak, dun agad yung baby sa room ng mommy as the picture shows. Kasi dati, kasama yan sa nagpapakahirap sa nanay na maging successful ang kanyang pag-breastfeed kasi yung baby niya nasa nursery. So ayaw din niya ng mga milk companies na mapasa din itong batas na to kasi the more na yung baby malayo sa baby, the more na pag iniyak, at yun yung sinasabi ng nurse, umiyak Tapos bibigyan nila ng formula. Pero kung ang baby kasama na agad ng mami, pag iyak, dede ng mami kaagad ang ibibigay sa kanya. So this is a very important law in 1992. And then in 2006, I filed my first bill to promote breastfeeding in the country. I authored Senate Bill number 2490 or the Breastfeeding Promotion Act. We passed it, but unfortunately, it stalled in the House of Representatives. So nagsustall din sa kanila paminsan-minsan, hindi lang naman po sa atin, kasi may gusto sanang i-interrupt sana ako ng Majority Floor Leader to say that, kasi sinabi ko na para sa inyong lahat. In 2007, no need to say sorry. In 2007, I refiled my bill in the 14th Congress, Senate Bill number 761, which sought to require lactation station in public places and in private and government offices. It also mandated employers to allow milk breaks for nursing employees. So finally pumasa to in 2009. It's called the Expanded Breastfeeding Promotion Act of 2009. And this is why when you go to malls, when you go to bus stations, when you go to airports, you will see these breastfeeding stations. Ito po yun. Ito po yung batas natin that has been in place for some 15 years, and I'm very grateful. Nakikita ko to sa mga